I'll get more.
Jennifer's here.
Whoa, arm plus one.
All right, we're up and running. What are you doing?
Well,
Jude, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Just nod.
Yes, I can.
Thank you, darling. Sure. Welcome to the planning board.
It appears that by the official clock, it's 6 o'clock. So I'd like to call to order the regular hybrid meeting of the Woodstock Planning Board for May 18th. Do you have any updates to the agenda?
We just got that quick email. It was just about state CFA grant announcement that came from Deborah through Bill. We can look further into that if you want. I'm sure Judy, you want to just let me see. That's it.
All right.
Thank you.
So communications and announcements. We have the newsletter from the Woodstock Housing Committee and received on May 9th. And we have the letter from Kay Hagerman, Casco Mountaineer, regarding Calmer Lane.
I just want to touch base on that a little bit. I read that. I actually went back and forth with her a little bit about the secret process. I just wanted you guys to know exactly when there is POSDEC and NEGDEC and how we go and how every application has an EAF form. So just want you to know how I handled that end on that letter.
Yeah. So, okay, so tonight under scheduled business, I think we have 3 public hearings.
Yes.
First one, a couple minutes before, do you want to say something, John?
I just wanted to ask about the discussions regarding the changes to the planning zoning.
We're hoping to do it at the workshop meeting the end of June.
You're going to let the 45-day,
I
Go
asked permission from Bill for the town board.
don't trust it.
Okay.
Someone can hang you on that 45-day.
Okay.
Please understand that. And you're letting it lapse. And I strongly disagree with allowing that to lapse.
Okay.
Therefore, that means you have to discuss it before the 45 days is up.
Okay.
I'm just,
Yeah, no, I'll do whatever you guys want me
Squeeze it in
to.
somewhere.
You know, I
I don't know how you
if
squeeze it in, but you need
if
to.
they come back and say no, we'll put it at the end of the next meeting, which is June 1st.
Who's going to come back and say no?
Well, I asked Bill to ask the town board to give me that workshop meeting. I want to bring Nan in, and hopefully we can use that workshop time to do it.
They're not necessarily the people who can say yay or nay.
I know.
Understand that, because that's statute that says 45 days. So somebody can just, anybody, any citizen in this town can just bring it up and say, you just violated that statute.
But it hasn't, they're still in the initial phases. They're looking for comments. So are we really at that 45-day mark right now? I mean, is it that close to being? You know what I mean? Like, we've come back with comments various times. We've been working with Deborah. So I'm just not sure.
Well, it needs a
For right now, I'm not sure if
It
that
needs
45-day
a,
clause is
thorough, comprehensive discussion.
absolutely.
Yes, I have some serious problems with it.
We would prefer Judy to be here because she is so involved and we have the conversation. So that kind of deterred that. That's why I went for. But
Well, if we have to get in the 45 days, then we're gonna have to do it.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that. I wasn't even thinking.
and I wasn't either until you had said it today. And honestly, I was thinking like we're beginning stages. We're not. They have a meeting May 30th that they're supposed to talk to the public.
Well, if we have
John, I'll
to,
do
if we
whatever I
have to, if
need.
we have to get under 45 days, we're gonna have to.
I mean, you may not, it may not be a problem,
Right.
but
Be
why,
aware.
Yeah, why court disaster?
She could be on the phone, Judy, probably.
We're not doing it tonight, we're just talking about it. I'm just reiterating to you guys to look it over. We need to make a formal review, which we do with all of the statutes, to present back to the town board. That's the goal. I'm hoping that we can utilize the workshop time to do that.
Oh, no, I understand that.
Yeah,
You also have a 300-page document
Oh, it's absolutely.
that you're talking about commenting and reviewing. And make sure you do it in a hurry kind of thing, baloney.
Well, you know you have my support,
Oh,
all of you. And I do whatever you.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to look at every one of those proposals and what the results would
well,
be.
Peter, I have some problems with that document, serious problems. Because I think it's a seriously flawed document at this point. And since one of our members was primarily involved with the construction of it, I'd like that member to be here.
That's how we.
Agreed. Agreed, all right, so we'll
Okay.
keep
We're
that
on
hot
hold
on
and
the,
I'll
hot on
keep
the
you
fire.
posted. And if I
Now
have
it's
to,
6:05.
John, if I have to put it on the next agenda and we do it, we'll do it.
Yeah,
Okay,
to do a special meeting. I don't
if I
care.
have to, exactly, absolutely.
Yeah.
You got it.
All right, well, it is 6:05, so that's our public hearing. 6:05 is Rodrigo and Maria Carlos, and that's planning board case 22-1137B. It's a public hearing for a subdivision application to subdivide one lot of 31.9 acres into 3 lots of 25.5, 3.4, and 3 in the R3 zoning district located on John Joy Road in Woodstock. And Catskill Region Surveying Services. So I guess the board knows we've seen this before us, and the last thing Rod had to do was to get the wetlands buffers on there. And you asked for some road, something to do with the road.
That's within the resolution.
Okay. So it's a public hearing, so I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Rod, if you want to tell the public what it is you're proposing.
We're proposing to, like you said before, to divide this 30-something lot and to create actually 3 lots in total. 2 new ones and the balance of the 30-something acres.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience here for this particular case? Please state your name to Melissa.
We're gonna start in the front.
Joe Waters.
Okay, if you want to stand up, Drew Milford.
Well, I'm relatively new to Woodstock, moved there about 8 years ago. My understanding is that area is a wetland. If you make a right-hand turn onto Purdy Hollow Road, go about 100 feet, there's an intermittent stream there. That stream flows into this area that would be subdivided. Looks like a wetland to me.
Yes, so there's actually quite a bit of wetlands there. They've been delineated and surveyed and put on the map. And the development has to stay out of the wetland and the wetland buffer.
Yeah, the wetlands were discussed.
So the bulk of the land would be located where? Closer to Purdy Hollow?
No, closer to John Joy.
Close to John Joy, but the corner there, the corner of
It's a
John
little
Joy.
above the corner. Parcel kind of comes up. Rod has had these maps done and delineated over the years several times at the planning board's request. The maps have the buffers, the setbacks.
Can I see that, man?
Absolutely. You could have called my office at any point.
I found out about this meeting last night.
I can email it to you after the fact.
Sure.
But it's the planning board wouldn't have gotten him here if he wasn't
Okay, so I,
Just,
There's been tremendous amount of discussion regarding the wetlands. Because they are a primary concern to us.
sure,
but absolutely anytime, just
okay, I'll give you my email address.
call my office, extension 16, or email planning or mgray@Woodstock, and we can absolutely,
Okay,
all right,
thank you.
you're welcome. Next, just give me your name.
Nancy Jachel, I'm on Purdy Hollow Road. I've been here for quite a while and been through several of the hearings with Carolus and his previous attempts. And I guess one question I have is what would make this attempt different from the others that were actually disallowed in large part because of the wetlands and the zoning requirements of that area? And how is this going to be different now? A number of years ago, Rob wanted to put in senior housing and that stopped.
All the lots had the wetlands delineated, put on them. All
So
the
I don't
same,
know why it would. go
I
through
haven't
now when
seen-
it didn't go through
I
before.
haven't seen a subdivision for Mr. Carolus that hasn't gone through. But the senior housing was separate. That was a whole separate
Right.
application.
Right, that was separate.
There was also subdivision prior to the senior housing when he wanted to break up a lot of acreage on John Joy, and he was disallowed from doing it the way he wanted, in part because of wetlands and zoning. That was the first case, actually.
Well, there's been several lots taken out of that main piece over time. So, but you are right, there was an application for a senior housing thing that didn't, not that the planning board shot it down, it's just.
When the senior, may I?
Absolutely.
When the senior housing, first, the senior housing, that's it for me to do by the town, okay? When I went to the public hearing, there was so much opposition to the senior housing, and I said, you know what, it's not worth. So much opposition, so the next day, I called up the planning board, and I said, I am abandoning this project. Okay, after much expense and much effort to do this, at the request of the town. Okay, for the senior housing, I abandoned the project. That's way past, that's over and done with.
And what about the projects that you tried before the senior?
I'm sorry, what?
What about when you tried before the senior housing to break up on John Joy into 10 small lots? And that was disallowed because of zoning.
I never
and
tried that.
wetlands. Yes, you did. And that was the first hearing.
I don't know with what planning board, I tried it.
It was.
Please
It wasn't
address
this
the
one.
board, please address the board with your question.
Okay,
So you're asking about a 10-lot
Yes.
subdivision, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, I will try and find the notes because we actually formed a neighborhood civic group to fight it.
What
So
year,
I will-
remember?
I have my files at home. It's a good over 10 years, over 15 years probably. I can see what I can find.
I can categorically, unequivocally state that I never attempted to make a 10-acre a 10-lot subdivision there.
I will see if I have the information on that. Thank you.
You're
Somebody else?
both the maps too. I mean, Mr. Carolus has been hit, this is probably your fourth, fifth meeting with the planning board over the course of the past year to get the maps where they are at point where they're planning board approval. He's done due diligence and has had it delineated and the buffers and everything is depicted on there. The planning board would never let it go if it was within the wetlands.
Thank you.
Next,
I think somebody else had a question.
Yeah, I don't really have a question. I'm Julie Lucy. I came also out of concern for the wetlands, and I only just learned about all this last night, so a lot of what you're saying, I just haven't heard before. So I just, like Joe, would like to see the maps. So, yeah.
Were there any calls or,
I had.
oh, I'm sorry, somebody else.
I had a few neighbors call, but no formal rebuttal.
I'm Laurie Kirby, and I also only found about this project last night.
Can you repeat your name? I'm sorry.
Laurie Kirby.
Okay,
Thank you.
and that's it.
And there were no other, any members of the planning board have questions for the applicant regarding And a motion to close the public hearing? All in favor? I didn't hear a second. You guys
She
say-
seconds it.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so you, have to get,
Yeah, you want to make a motion to approve the application?
yes, I'm sorry, make a motion to approve the application as presented.
Second?
I second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, good night.
All right,
Good night.
all right, we're right on schedule.
And we have Mr. North and Mr. May online. Hi, guys, you're up.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. This is Tilex 237 Holdings LLC, SCP number 220448A. This is a public hearing for a special use permit application to construct an addition of a second-story master bedroom suite, including stair access and new entry to an existing dwelling in the R5 Scenic Overlay District, located at 276 Meads Mountain Road in Woodstock, and the rep is North Engineers. So like to make a motion to open a public hearing.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mike, if you want to tell the public and the board what you're proposing.
Well, I think Peter's already read it fairly clearly. We want to create a master bedroom suite on the second floor. And also the existing front door arrangement was not to our liking, and in fact, kind of tired of everybody coming in through the basement garage. And we needed some stairs to get to the master bedroom suite. So that's what we're creating, is basically an entryway, which is on his main floor level, and a two-story, very small structure that includes the stairs, basically the stairs and landing, so that he can go from his basement to the first floor and second floor. There's currently no second floor. So that's what we're creating. We've been through a lot of discussion about the screening, because there's an existing amount of glass on the view side, which I think is roughly south. It's a little bit east, I think, of south. Anyway, there's big rhododendrons that block some of the ones that are further back on the existing house. You can't see them really at all. And they're very, very mature, and have been there a long time, and they're a nice asset to the property. Those are two sliding glass doors that are bedroom area currently. There's a existing sliding glass door, 4-panel in the living room, and we're going to build above that with some matching fixed windows, which are going to be screened with the film that the anti-reflective film, so that we are screening that. And we also have a small bedroom window that's quite small, or bathroom window, I mean, which is quite small, and that will have a window screen on it. And then there's another set of 6-foot standard sliders that go out to a little balcony. So the balcony itself will create some screening, plus we'll have the screening, the film applied to that, as well as a screen door on half of it, which is all you can put on a slider typically. So we've worked with the planning board to try to comply with, in fact, we've more than complied with the regulations on percentage of glass. We started out with enough glass that we were violating the percentage. But the rhododendrons, which were always there, and all the screening we've applied is an extensive amount of mitigation.
Okay. Is there anybody here in the audience for this particular case? Planning board members probably remember, Mike, our big issue was the glass on the second floor, and you solved that by the non-reflective film, that was our main concern. Anybody else on the board have questions for?
Specifically a film?
Yeah, it's anti-reflective and it goes right over top of the windows. It's perfect.
Yeah, for the board's information, I looked into it. There does exist at the museum level, non-reflective glass, but you can't get it in windows and doors. And I have no idea what it costs, but you just can't get it. It's meant for museum artwork, not for windows.
What was the rhododendron comment there?
Actually,
Well, they're very big. They're about 8 feet high. They've probably been there, I don't know, for decades. They block 2 of the sliding glass doors, which are in the calculation, but are, virtually invisible from the valley or from the view side.
He did clean up his plans.
It was an interesting issue because there was that existing part there that had glass, and now he's adding more glass. But the solution was the film, non-reflective
Yeah.
film.
So like light at night coming out of the windows isn't something that falls into the scenic overlay issue.
No, the scenic overlay has, I think the whole town has regulations on projecting light from the exterior lights, but there's no way to,
It's like doubling.
yeah.
This is also an addition.
So what?
It's an addition, so the house is existing. I took a look.
Interesting question you bring up.
But
the
that's why
exterior.
we made sure we had mitigation and made those numbers on the plans.
Thank you. I'm curious about this non-reflective film. Are there percentages or how do they judge this to the effect? Because it'll come up a lot more often.
I don't know what the manufacturer of this film says. I don't really know exactly what percent.
Well, the main thing, it's been quite a while since I looked it up and submitted this, but so I can't say off the top of my head what the percentage, but it's quite significant. Apparently, the main driving force for this kind of film was some of the big commercial buildings, especially a few of the ones that were concave. They were focusing sun and melting plastic on cars. And so this was partly, that seems to be the main thrust. When you look it up, on the internet and stuff, you don't find anything about, scenic overlay, at least nothing that I could find. But it's mainly meant to prevent the sunlight from reflecting off, and which is the point, is sort of what's in the regulations for our scenic overlay.
I know.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
Calvin, you have any other questions about this? I don't know really.
It'd be good to believe in something before it gets used. And when does it peel off, like dark windows in cars
Exactly.
and et cetera. But
What's the duration? What's the life of this material?
I haven't
Does it
read
say?
I haven't read it.
We do know, we have seen that non-reflective glass.
Well, this,
At one point
we've
was coming
used
from Europe.
non-reflective glass before, but I've never actually put
hard.
this film on before.
Well, I think that's the only way you can get the non-reflecting glass is to put the film on it. I mean, I researched it extensively and was so frustrated that I called some other architects, which, you know, is not something I do right away. And, you know, the film is what is about the only thing that anyone does.
Is it manufactured applied? Is that what it suggests? Or we're gonna get out there with squeegees?
I submitted a cut sheet to the planning board.
That's what Calvin was looking at. Is it manufacturer applied?
Is it manufactured what?
Applied.
I don't know what you mean. Oh, I don't know what you mean.
Does it come from the manufacturer with the film already installed?
No, it has to be applied in the field. So that would be an enforcement issue for the building inspector.
There's nothing to standardize it about, I don't know.
It's an addition.
We've had this issue before. How come this film is popping its head up?
Because I think what he's saying is that the windows he's using, he can't get non-reflective, so he's putting this stuff on.
Which we've seen.
So there is an alternative to that. Use windows that come reflective.
No, they don't. We went through this with the planning board about 15 years ago, where the planning board was thinking that low E, which means low emissivity, was a good thing because that was going to reduce the reflection. And of course, that does sound sensible, but in fact, it's the reverse. The low E glass increases your reflection. And based on the research that we did at the time, that's North Engineers, nothing to do with this project, we showed that the clear glass was the least reflective of what you could buy commercially. And but you know, for energy code and efficiency, most people get low E glazing. It's quite a significant energy situation.
Maybe the film can be applied to that glass.
Well, it can be applied to clear glass, yeah.
Or the windows could go on the other side of the house.
Well, the reason you buy a house in that location and put up with the mountain and the snow plows and the difficulties up there is for the view. And that's why Mr. May is wanting to, you know, put this in his master bedroom. This was an old house that belonged to a couple ladies in Woodstock a long time ago. And it's just basically a simple, small house with a great view.
What happens if the trees, the plants die, the rhododendron?
I'm sorry?
More windows.
What happens if the evergreens die, the rhododendrons?
Well, they can be replaced. I mean, it's part of the
We did bring the
landscape.
calculations up to where we needed them to be. They weren't when they started.
But
Including those windows behind the rhododendron.
Yeah, everything was included in the calculations.
What's the lifespan of this film with sun beating on it?
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't have the cut sheet in front of me. I think I submitted it in January or February.
sounds like some research in the future to do.
99% of ultraviolet light blocking properties.
Where's
I know that's
the-
not a frame, it's just at a highly extended lifespan.
Great.
It doesn't say.
Highly extended what? Beyond 3 months?
Yeah.
That reminds me-
Your job.
That reminds me of the Sylvia restaurant when it went up and they painted it black
Wow.
against the code. And they came in and said, that's all right,
It's gonna
it'll
fade."
fade soon enough. You buy stuff, it's gonna fade.
Well, excuse me, the towns, if I could interject, the town's regulations allow a certain amount of glass that is not shielded at all. That's what the regulations have always allowed. I think it's 25% off the top of my head. And our amount of glazing is like 32% or 34%. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But then in order to get down below 25, you should mitigate. And the rhododendron and the window screens that are on some of the windows actually comply with the 25%. This film is extra. And it was something that we were basically being told we had to do to get to a public hearing and to comply with the wishes of the planning board, but the regulations are written that we were okay without it. So I think the planning board has to move this along. And, you know, we've complied above and beyond the regulations.
Well, I certainly think that's the case, in this case, but it brings up an interesting
Yeah.
point that you're bringing. How do we know what the stuff that we?
Yeah, Mike, you did. You did
Right.
fix the plans as the planning board asked. You did.
Any other questions for this case?
I just want to, there was a time when there was a tower proposed to be built. The planning board required them to float a balloon so we could see what that might look like. Maybe film on it, not to hold them up, but at some point we have to learn what these materials really are.
It's an interesting, the scenic overlay. Whole premise there is one of the things that's non-reflective. Permitted many scenic overlay non-reflective glass, and I have no idea how effective it really is.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Honestly.
Anybody else have questions for this case? All right, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the application pending draft resolution. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Two.
Nope.
Okay. Okay. Moving on.
What happened?
I got your name.
Oh, I was just not sure. Okay. Good.
All right. So.
Thank you,
You'll hear
guys.
my-
We'll talk. I'll get you out the resolution probably Monday morning.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome,
Thank
Owen. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Michael.
Okay, goodbye.
Okay, our next public hearing is David and Allison Pelican, SUP number 23-0674. This is a public hearing for a special use permit applications to construct a barn within the R3, R5 scenic overlay zoning district located at 11 Lions Way in Shady. And Philip Marshall is the rep. So open the public hearing.
A second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Okay. I could tell the public and the board what it is you propose.
Proposed to, it's a 36 by 24 foot timber frame. And, we're complying with the height that we've been, I think we've been given the 25 feet. We're under 25 feet tall. It's going to have a dark antique bronze roof. A dark wood siding. It's going to have glass. Seems to be quite an issue, even though like if you put screens, the non-reflective glass is like works for 4 or 5% of the actual light, but if you put a screen over it, it can take away like 50 to 70% of the light. That's where it should be really. I think that's a much bigger factor in this situation. And then the siding is going to be like nice dark siding, local siding, and it's going to be 2 exterior lights shining down. It's going to fit right in. You're
Very dark sky compliant.
Yeah, you're not even going to see it. It's there really.
No, we need a cut sheet. I'm sure you did.
Yep, we got.
There. It's kind of it's tucked in there. You can't really see it.
As long as it's approved. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, so I really walked around at certain times of the day up there, and I think I positioned it pretty nicely up there. We're not taking down.
I will need a cut sheet for just the exterior lights when you have a chance. That's the only thing we can do.
Okay.
But everything else.
Sounds good.
No, we thought about it a lot and we're using, we're building a nice sustainable building using like all materials from New York. Maybe the insulation might be coming from,
Pennsylvania.
but we're trying our hardest here. And we're trying,
I wanna thank you, for being present when we did that teaching site visit, so thank you.
In this case, the planning board, a bunch of us were up there and looked at it. As far as tree clearing goes, we're good on that. Does anybody in the audience have questions for the applicant? Go ahead.
I'm Grim, I live at 14 Lions Way, and I haven't had the pleasure of seeing the plan. I like these people very much. You might like them, they're great people. So I just wanted to learn more about it. I don't know where it's going to position, and what is the barn used for, do you know?
so he's like, he's an artist, musician, and I guess he wants to go and make art away from his girlfriend, whatever. Play the guitar and write a song.
So I've been on this road, Lions Way, before it was built. And when I think I got it built, I spent all of my room for life here. And the drive. And even just this summer, we had 2 accidents there. One totaled the car. Totaled it.
Wow.
And it cost the person $300 and their day, when they could have prepared the road before. So a long time ago, I wrote up what I would call guidelines, and I call them rules. So David and Allison are here. They know about this, and I think I emailed them, but I always wanted to give them copies. So I don't know if you're going to see them. They want a copy of this.
Kelvin, just so you know, this barn isn't going to create when it's finished, we talked about this, he's taking the stuff up the hill, up to where he's doing the barn, and it's gonna be a footpath to it. So he's not creating like another entryway to create more, just to.
Yeah, well, the reason I was asking what it's used for is because Dewey's is also, you're the contractor, so the guidelines really well, you'll save everybody a lot of trouble, because you really can't just go up there anytime when there's any amount of snow without preparing the road, especially the part that I live on, because that's what I'm concerned about. So there are really strong guidelines about how to work that road in the winter. So I'd like the contractors to know that.
Well,
and just for the record, I'll share it with the planning board too. And that's just my point. I just want to stay safe. I want all of us to stay safe.
Yeah, I
2 accidents this past
I
year,
appreciate it.
serious ones.
I take immense care on that road.
Yeah, good. Well, just watch it. A quarter inch of snow will throw you off the edge.
If I'm up there when it snows still,
Well,
they're gonna need another contract.
Yeah. Anyway, that, oops.
Well, Calvin, for us, this is not a subdivision or a lot line revision, so the road isn't in our point anyway.
No, yeah, but I've been showing up for this for 54 years. And everybody who's new, I have to train them, and then they don't listen.
Calvin, the Pelicans would have been here also, but they had a family emergency.
Oh, yeah,
Just,
I know.
I spoke to them, just so you know, so it's not like they're absent, they're
No, I never felt that.
completely involved.
I never felt it. And I'm not being. Oh, I'm here to save everybody.
He's actually very friendly when you come down Lions Way and he sees you coming in and out.
Unless you drive on the road before clearing it and you make a quarter inch of ice for me to deal with, at that point, I'm not friendly anymore, right? I'm here to save 54 years. I go.
Cal, I'm not going up there in winter, okay? You'll never see me.
That would be a problem.
Calvin, you need to go away before it snows and come back after it snows.
I'll send you the bill for that. It must be my
Well, as you know, our main concern is the scenic overlay, glazing, which we just addressed, and tree cutting, which we all went up and took a good look.
So, can I ask you, this is a metal roof?
The metal roof.
Yeah. Standing tree, it's like a 9 feet bronze roof, you won't see it at all, non-reflective.
It's non-reflective.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It has a grit on it, or is it metal?
Oh, it's metal.
It's not non-reflective.
Well, it's,
That's the color. It's good.
Yeah, and if you hold that in the light, it reflects. Anyway, that's another issue that I'd love to approach this. No matter what color it is.
no, it's not galvalume, let's put it that way.
Or is it-
Good example, but you might not want to do that right now. Really good example. I think I even provided you photographs of one, a building on, the sun is a certain way, and the roof is a certain pitch. The metal, the brown metal matters not. It is like a spotlight. So there are metal roofs instead that are more like panels, that's more smaller sections, but they have an aggregate on. That will break up the light the way an asphalt shingle does.
Cal, I know you send us stuff and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Do you ever send it to the town board? Because they really need to know.
Yeah,
And they are actually like in the process right now talking about the scenic overlay.
yeah.
I don't think that hasn't gotten approved.
I
either,
said,
right? There's a
Bill
zoning
gave
revision.
me the name of Susan, I communicated with her, didn't get back. So I think it's Susan.
Laura Ricky.
Oh, yeah, Laura. She didn't get back to me. I'd love to have a real serious conversation about 3 or 4.
Send me an email and I will forward it to her.
Well,
I know, but just to open communication so she can follow it.
great, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry to take up so much time, but
No, good points, Calvin, good points.
thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, yeah, I'll come talk to you.
I love finger frames. I used to do it.
Well, it's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Great way to go.
We don't need Phil anymore, do we? No.
Okay, so did you have any letters or comments?
Absolutely not.
Welch.
Irish.
Yeah, but you know,
At least he didn't say English.
no, I didn't.
He sings and plays music.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, we're playing at the Hood on Friday night this year, if you want to come.
Any other members of the board have questions for the barn application?
No.
No? Hearing none, then I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'd like to make a motion to approve the application pending draft resolution. In favor?
Aye.
We will talk. They'll approve a resolution.
See you,
We'll
Calvin.
talk to Calvin.
Thank
You're good. Well, we'll talk, it's just paperwork and final plans and put them together.
Go build a barn.
Go build the barn.
Amazing, looks like.
Thank you so much for your cooperation.
There was a little bit of Salinger in there. One of my favorite parts of the United States.
Philip, you're always welcome in my office.
Yeah. Well, now we have a sketch plan review, since we're on the subject of scenic overlays. We have Brian and Kelly Crago, SUP number 23-048 VA 2A. It is a sketch plan review of a special use permit application to construct an addition to an existing dwelling within the R5 and scenic overlay zoning districts located at 535 Meek Hollow Road in Lake Hill. And the rep is Robert. There you go.
Thank you, folks.
So. It's been reviewed, so why don't you tell the board what you're proposing?
Has anybody looked at the plans that I submitted already for the addition?
I saw where it was, that's for sure.
Did you go out to the site?
No, but I know where it is.
Oh, okay.
You're right at the top of the Sky Drive.
It's on Mink Hollow Road, 535 Mink Hollow Road.
For Sky Drive.
It's an addition to an existing single-family dwelling. It's a one-story dwelling. The Craigos have owned it since 2017. When they bought it, they didn't have 2 children. They have 2 young children now. And what they'd like to do is create an addition. The building does fall above the scenic overlay threshold. I've worked on the property before. And I've been working actually pretty closely with Butch Hoffman to make sure that we were trying to comply with the intent of the zoning ordinance with regards to mitigating visual impact from the get-go. So I have some pictures. These are a couple of pictures of the existing house. I brought with me. Okay. The existing house is a little bit over 700 square feet. It's small. Yeah. Doesn't qualify as a Les Walker tiny house. So I think that's even tinier. And actually, Mike North had done this addition and renovation, I think back in like 2008. This part of the building here, we're going to keep. That's very well built. It has a full foundation under it. Okay. This part of the building, this is the part that faces south. This is not particularly well built. It's up on pillars. It gets freezing cold in the winter and it's filled with bugs too. So the intent of the project is we're actually going to demolish this whole section of house and put the new addition in its
How many
place.
square feet is that?
It's like 380 or something like that. Each segment is about 350.
Okay.
So we're eliminating whatever that is, 350, 380, and we're adding, I think it's about 1,100 in its place. It balances out to about a 1,500 square foot house. Okay. The height is going to be the same. The existing ridge is about 17 feet high. We're matching that, pretty close to matching that. It's fully compliant with zoning. One of the things that Butch helped me with was actually mitigating. There's not a lot of glazing on any of the walls. None of the walls have more than 25% glazing. In fact, the most glazing that any wall has is 24%. And this has actually it's been nice that I had some people before me that were dealing with the same issues, is yes, in the zoning ordinance under scenic overlay, it's only when you exceed the 25% threshold where you're supposed to take additional measures to try to cut down on the glazing. These windows are all low E for energy efficiency. It's a standard low E. None of them are particularly huge. And they all have screens also. I mean, the project actually isn't even really very visible. I mean, it's sort of tucked in a hollow. I've been out there with board members before. Can't really see it, from the surrounding area. You can see it from the road, but it's sort of up 30 feet from the road. And as far as the colors of the exterior, this is an accessory building that I did that we're matching that color scheme. Originally, we were going to use black asphalt shingles, but they used a metal roof on this, and they really like that. It's a black metal roof. So they wanted to match, it'd be black windows, black metal roof, and then sort of that gray siding would be the color scheme for the exterior. We are the only place we have exterior lights are just at the entrance doors, which we have to have by New York State code. This is the fixture cut, which I already provided to Melissa. It's dark sky compliant. It's a black fixture. So it's fully shrouded bulb. I think that's about it.
So it's pretty near the end of the road, right?
I've never gone past the house. I don't know. I think it keeps climbing up and up.
A little more, okay.
Yeah.
No, there's only like three more houses past that.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Then there's Sky Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That drive's like
pretty far up there.
That's when the heaven is.
Yeah.
It's awfully nice up there, that's for sure.
It's
It's pretty. Yeah.
I mean, at the moment, I don't think there's much that's going to actually see it, but apply to all the regs for scenic overlay, in case in the future anybody builds nearby, they'll be protected from reflection.
They have they're very friendly with the neighbors on both sides. Pat Pontecorvo and Robin Morisco, I think are their names.
Pat still lives there, huh?
Yeah, and
She's been there
they've
forever.
both been very supportive of the project. They like the Craigos, and they have no issues with the plans that we showed them.
Okay with me.
How about tree cutting?
Zero.
Zero.
Mhm.
Septic? No.
There's an existing septic.
You like zero tree cut.
Existing, did you say?
Yeah, there's an existing septic for this house. It's rated for 2-bedroom, and we're maintaining 2-bedroom staff. Yep.
Okay.
Any board members?
So it's not a 1,000-gallon tank?
I'm sorry?
1,000-gallon tank?
Yeah, I think it's a 1,000-gallon tank. I have the engineering plans that Mike North did, but it's rated for 2-bedroom.
Any other questions
No.
from anybody? I don't know if we've ever waived further review on the scenic overlay.
I did last time I was here. I didn't, you guys did.
But,
He did meet with Butch and I both and did his homework before.
No, it sounds,
He really
sounds right
did.
along, sounds excellent.
How's the rest of
And
the
Butch
board
several
feel
times
about
before he met with me, so.
Yeah, I did. I was here a lot.
How does the rest of the board feel about waiving further review, you know, not doing a site visit and everything?
I'm fine.
What's that?
Did you say not doing a site visit?
Yeah, I mean, how do you
Waive
feel
further
about not
review.
doing this?
Leave it all.
Your call.
I'm just worried because of the scenic overlay part, but I mean, presuming everything's fine. He says he's not taking down trees, so.
No trees, it's an addition. It's not changing height.
It's in the same spot as the last edition too, so we're not disturbing.
What's the square footage addition?
1,100.
So
It's going from 1100 to
adding
1500.
11 to 7.
No.
The existing was 700.
The existing is 700,
It's double.
we're tearing down half of that, and then we're adding 1,100, so the balance is, we'll end up with about 1,500, I believe is the house
And
total.
it's two floor, but it's like a.
One floor.
But it's like a.
With the basement.
Yeah, it's got a basement, full basement underneath, if we don't hit ledge. That's, you know, our optimistic plan. So that could be, I mean, you know, there's a tiny basement underneath the house now. It doesn't even have an interior staircase. You got to go outside to get into the bulkhead. So we could, you know, if we can get a full basement under there, then they'll have storage, and they could create a rumpus room down there for the boys too, because it still is a pretty small house.
And if you can't for the basement.
Oh, well, then we can't do a basement.
Existing.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't know until we start excavating.
So I poll the board if you, how we feel about waiving further review.
I'm fine.
James?
Yeah, I'll wait.
Yeah, that's definite.
Okay, so,
Wow, I could be like the poster child for
We
how to make a
still need
presentation.
paperwork. Don't get too crazy. I'll
Whatever you
have a
want.
resolution ready for them at the next one. We'll stop.
Okay,
All right, the next one.
I can't make the next meeting. Is
You
that
don't
in
have
2
to.
weeks? Okay,
They're just gonna approve the resolution.
so I can go on vacation?
You can go on vacation.
Thank you.
Don't worry, I have your cell phone number.
Yeah, so,
Yes, please go on vacation. At the next meeting in 2 weeks, they will approve the resolution and then be back from vacation.
Okay, great. So, thank you, folks. Have a
Thanks,
good night.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing your homework.
My pleasure.
okay, our next sketch plan review is Jackson Lane LLC, special use permit number 23-0228E. This is a sketch plan review of a site plan review application for modifications to an existing site plan with exterior construction within the HC zoning district located at 52 Mill Hill Road in Woodstock, and the rep is Scott.
Hi, I'm Scott Mitchell, and we've got is a list of improvements, that we want to do on patio front. Most of them are, to improve our competitive position, just, draw more people. The vestibule we need, I don't know why I didn't do that. What remodeled the restaurant to begin with.
I'm sorry, 52 is what?
Oh, well,
Pearl Moon.
Pearl Moon.
Pearl Moon.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And so, a fire feature, those are just, again, things to drop people in. The vestibule we need, winters when the cold air, with just no vestibule, we got the front door open, it gets cold. It's grind. The menu display, we were able to put a menu display on the side of the building, as you enter, come up to the entry door, but in the summers we get so busy that tables are full and people are waiting. And we want to move, have a display out near the sidewalk on Mill Hill so that people don't have to wait to get up to the whole stand take a look at a menu, they can look at it out near the sidewalk and make a decision if they want to go through the line.
Define.
That's what this
near.
is?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but define near,
I'm sorry.
define near the sidewalk.
Oh, it's in our flower bed. It will not face the sidewalk. It will face our entry walkway up to the main entry of the restaurant.
You see that?
Here's the sidewalk. This is the entry to the patio, and it's leaning toward the entry.
Sidewalk.
So that's also
No,
known as like
it's on the-
additional
It's on
signage.
the.
Yes, it falls under site.
So you're gonna have to
It's,
go to
see this
your
walkway
friend.
here? Here's the sidewalk,
Richard was,
and here's the patio.
Got
So
it.
you'd be
Okay.
standing here.
this guy I talked to.
Oh, William?
Yeah.
What's
This is-
weird
This is
about this?
actually falling into that because
Yeah,
they
and
they just yanked from the entire
Yeah.
town, any sandwich signs, anything like that.
Yeah.
So you're adding
So-
additional signage.
Yes.
I mean, even the Playhouse can't put like a sandwich sign on their lawn.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
but I wonder if, because Butch referred this and knew everything they were doing.
Which referred this?
Mhm.
Okay. I'll talk about
So
it.
I'm wondering
It's like
if,
the
because it's a
CCTV that'll-
fixed sign and not a temporary sandwich board, if it's different.
Well, that's one reason why
Right.
we're doing.
But
this,
how
is
many
because of
signs is the
this.
building allowed to have?
We can
One
ask.
shingle that can be this.
Oh, I can
this.
ask and write out, we can get further information from Butch, concern on the sign. We could
I'm
do
not
that.
against your sign, I'm just telling you.
No, no,
that
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want you to spend $5,000 and
100%.
have them say you have to take this off. That's what I-
You're allowed one sign.
Which is Pearl Moon.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have our
This is just one.
business sign.
And it's square footage, I forget now, that sign is determined.
Yeah.
I have it.
It is a big, yes.
Not very big.
James is right. So what about, I can touch base with Butch and formally ask him for the planning board concern
starting
over
it-
the
We're
sign.
doing a task force on signage in town that I'm gonna be on, and we're hoping to come up with some compromises on this
Right.
drastic, like, no frills town we live in now.
Yeah,
And,
well, Butch approached us, and said that, we use the menu boards to, or the, what do you call them, the
Sandwich board.
sandwich board, yes. Up by our entry door so people can look at specials.
And not anymore.
Put our menus on. He said, not anymore. Well, then we go, well, how about this? When we talked to Butch, he said, well, just has to go to planning board. So,
see, and that's gonna piss off every other business that doesn't have the luxury of having a small little sidewalk in front of their building. to
Yeah,
put a
right,
permanent
exactly.
sandwich sign. So it's an issue just with good faith with everybody else in town. And,
yeah.
not that we don't want you to have it, it's just, gotta kind of look, iron that out. I think. Which doesn't mean you couldn't put it in like later at the end of this project.
Well, that's what, some of the things on this list, we want to get that entry vestibule done before cold weather.
Oh, no, you need to do that.
Yeah, and there's but
Is that
there's
doorway-
other things that are a couple years out too, like this extra pergola fire feature.
I mean,
We just want to get the process. moving.
When we-
I was gonna ask you, is the doorway moving or is it in the same place?
No, the entry door will be where it is.
The same door?
Yeah, we're just gonna put like
I just couldn't
a
quite tell.
storm door or something out on the front, my builder says, so something that we could take off in the summer.
As we've continued to work together, Butch and I are really big on, if you plan to do it, come to the planning board and bring it. Because if it gets on that site plan, he can do it in the next 5 years.
Right.
It's on the site plan. We want the site plan. So when we meet with people, we try to like, if there's any idea, get it approved now. So that's why he's saying like, we want to get this and this, but we want, so
Well, on that topic, I just don't know the answer to this, but fire feature, how close you are to the road, how close you are to cars and parking, what are there things, I presume? Like distances or?
We intend to put in an actual fireplace. I had that in, I think the photos I presented.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it doesn't describe it as a fireplace, but if we build anything, it'll be a wood burning fireplace. Because we
This.
don't want to go into gas. Yeah. We're trying to eliminate, as much as the propane as we can get out of the process.
Are there
Members of
any,
the
are there any
board.
regulations about that with putting in an open fire?
There'll be clearances.
Yeah, I think Rich said height in the distance from the building.
Would board members like to go to a site visit and walk around and get shown exactly what?
I go there a lot, so I kind of know.
I understand that.
Two, James.
I know everything you're talking about. And I like that.
Burgers,
I like
my
that as a
favorite
purpose. I think it's a
lunch.
very- I just was curious myself how close you can get to a road
Yeah.
or something like
You
that,
know,
how close to parking because of.
Which
cars
even
or whatever.
suggested that maybe the pergola might have to be pushed back away from the building farther too, you know.
Building, right?
What's the
This is all setbacks.
Yeah,
It has to be within setbacks or he's, yeah, it's not gonna fly.
Pergola number two.
What setbacks do we have on Tinker Street? On the,
Hmm?
what setbacks do we have on the front of Tinker Street? Properties.
It's on the Vulcan Regs table.
That's, the Tinker Street is really Route 212, which is a state road.
State highway.
It's a state highway, so they have their own regs.
Yeah,
Tell
that's
you
same
what
with
it
those.
is, yeah.
I think some of the existing buildings are all sort of like grandfathered as they are. I'm sure mine is way too close to the road.
Mm-hmm.
As Peter said, we can set up a site visit so you guys can take a look at it. It's your call. I can also get a little bit of clarification from Butch so we feel better about that. You know, is this, the question could be, according to zoning as is right now, where the planning board is aware of the sign issue in town. Is this fall under that sign or is this allowable under zoning? I absolutely can get that for you
I think
guys.
it's also because I did do another business here before where they were very strict about you get one sign. And I, you know, I can't remember what it was we were attempting to put up, and this was in the lawn in front of the old post office, but we were like, take that off immediately. We're like, oh, sorry. So,
But
I don't know, I'm just
ask-
curious, like, you know, and like I said,
Absolutely.
I don't want to spend thousands of dollars on something.
100%.
you know.
And he's here, you know, to
Yeah, I-
update the site plan and
Because I think it is going to be called a sign. Yeah.
menu board.
No.
No light.
no,
Okay.
it's-
Okay.
Can we stick to menu board?
Yeah,
Commission
in a
board,
way,
you know, they're the ones who,
yeah,
you
in a way
know,
it's not a
have a fit
sign.
about, oh my gosh, here's an extra sign. So,
I know.
not me.
So that's,
I don't
Two
need to see the
questions.
site. No,
You should go see it.
No, I don't need to see the
Oh, you
site.
don't?
See, we all
You've never
meet
been.
there.
I was like, "Oh, It's a great place.
And it'll go to the CCD,
well, that's only if it's referred to the CCD.
and we refer to the CCD.
That is at planning board discretion. Remember advisory committees, Grady, and I'll learn you yet.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, Butch is on it. And if he feels it needs to go to you guys, it does. And he did not prompt this one. So that's planning board.
You guys want to do a site visit? Okay, without?
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay without. I mean,
That's majority.
A lot of the technical questions here are really building department. I don't really know the. Except for the sign, I know there's a one.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess,
We'll go back and forth and we'll
Yeah.
talk and we'll bring you back.
Absolutely.
I'll have a conversation with Butch. I'll put together something and maybe email you to make sure that I got everything that you're concerned about. Does it make sense?
Mhm.
I'll text you that I emailed you so you can look.
Yes.
Have they officially launched this investigation into signs and, or?
They haven't officially announced the task force yet, but it should be soon, I think. Okay. Yeah.
They're working.
They're still running.
So we'll
Very good.
stop.
Yeah, thank you.
So I will draft something and we'll investigate the sign. Everything I saw was in compliance with,
Yeah, no, I was just curious about the
And it-
fire. I was curious about the
I
fire.
think-
I didn't know how, like,
you know, a lot of times, we didn't see a lot of these site plan updates because they just went, which is really sticking to the code.
yeah, no.
Giving us, well,
the whole issue of signs has got to be resolved.
it does.
Yeah.
It's just,
He says that he has an assistant now.
He does. There's a
Who
William
has
Spencer.
been
who
going
is on
around
it. Yeah,
talking
he's
to people
taking
about
care of,
signage.
yes, short-term rentals and signs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Butch really needs to refer that to the CCD.
That's not my call.
I know. I know, I'll get David on it, but it's like,
You just have to remember, CCD is an advisory.
I know, but it's an important advisory committee. And
Yeah, the planning board can make the call to do that, but they don't have to. If it's not changing the exterior of what you're seeing, doesn't usually prompt CCD.
It
They're
is.
not changing paint.
Yeah, they're creating a pergola in front of the building. It's totally changing the aesthetic of the building. It's gonna improve it because it's a hideous building. But you know, we like to know
that's-
materials, aesthetic. I mean, it's a crown drawing.
You know, as soon as the gateway, which is his gateway, but in the gateway, stuff gets reviewed, but I mean, it's fine with me, except it is.
What do you guys want? We can, if you want to, we
It's
can.
gonna affect.
Well, I think we need to figure out the sign thing first and where we're at with that. And so he can formulate a plan to give to the CCD and what he's gonna do. So let's see what we get from Butch, but do you guys want to refer to CCD or we know?
I think you have to when it's right in the middle of town.
Again, this
I
is
mean,
you. This is you guys. This,
I mean, you know.
I'm a yes.
okay.
Thank you. I second that.
Yeah.
And I somewhere I have the new sign regs. I'll find them and I can distribute them to you.
And yeah, just, that's how, yes.
I mean, I know there was a lot of talk a long time ago about businesses in town putting these
But, you know-
sandwich boards in the sidewalk, which didn't work too well.
This will at least keep him in the process.
That's bad for ADA.
I'll,
Sorry.
no, it's okay, we can refer to CCD, I can work on the sign issue, we can at least figure that out, and then we'll bring him back, and hopefully CCD will be done with whatever, yes, he's improving the building and you're okay with it, you know? Okay,
Thank you.
no, of course, absolutely.
Okay, unfinished business.
Gotta do this.
Have to make a motion to approve the draft resolutions for Carlos, Telex, and Pelican
And 18 Streeble, which was the one we waived lot line revision,
and 18th Street.
yeah.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I don't know Strable. I wasn't here last week. So someone else seconded.
Oh, that
Lot line
lot line
division.
division down at the corner of the property, yeah.
James,
Yeah,
second?
no, second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thanks, guys.
And then last but not least, we've already talked about this HOTF division. Tom pointed out, we may have a time system schedule that prevents us from waiting to the workshop. I don't know if you all read this whole thing over, and if you read what
Not all of it.
was in the paper,
I was here for the presentations.
but there's, yeah, John.
How do you, it's 300 pages. Come on, this is
Is
not
there
a
a
weekend.
shortened version or something?
I think that, yeah, Judy knows, there's a way to tell what's been changed.
Right.
Right, there's a certain 14-page document.
Well, I think what hasn't been discussed is what effects these changes could end up really having. You know, they're being created for affordable housing, but they could have adverse effects.
The grand Woodstock myth,
Right.
affordable housing. That's the grand myth in
And
this
what,
town.
and what is affordable?
Every single town board and planning board for the last 50 years has been talking about affordable housing. And where have we gotten?
Roughly.
To the most expensive housing in the county. We've succeeded. Yeah. So what's affordable in this town? $400,000 for 2 bedrooms and a bathroom on 1 acre is affordable in this town. That's
the median-
that's
That's
reality.
based on the median income.
Well, then you think about that, if you're talking income for the lower income folks, which is $17 an hour, let's say even up to $20 an hour.
They can't live
That's
there.
800 a month, 800 a week. And you're supposed to be able to pay your rent between a quarter and a third of your income.
Yeah.
So if a week is a quarter of the month, and that's $800, what are you gonna rent for $800 in this town?
You can't.
No.
You can't come close to double that.
So
But
I'm really want to know what exactly, like, all your concerns. Like, do you
My
feel like it
cons-
doesn't go far enough?
No, my concern is that it is an incredible waste of time. Because you are bucking major economic considerations. And I mean, I don't know how we get anywhere with discussing affordable housing without changing the world, literally. How do you change what they're paying in Manhattan for wages that are affecting this community? And it's just, you can't do it. You can't do it. I think this is a
Well, like
laudable.
the second
a law-
ADUs,
What?
the incentive to do second ADUs, that's one of the ideas.
See, the whole thing with Rubco was that they got government financing. They got cheap government financing so that they could build, and of course, they're a big company, so they have a lot of money. Because it took them 5 years in front of the planning board, over $1 million to get approved. So nobody else could go through that. But they get their money cheap from the government. But the deal is, they're only offering that affordable rate for a certain period of time, and that time's almost up. I think it was 7 years or 8 years. Then they can go back to regular rate. Because how are you gonna pay for a $10 million, project if you don't, because it's not gonna work.
Well, let me say this. After I left supervisor's job, I went to work for New York State. And I worked for the New York State Division of Housing on affordable housing. And that's what I did right through the early 2000s when I retired from New York State. I've seen affordable housing from both that side, that's the funding side, and the working side, let's put it that way. The difficulty here is that this community has never met the standards for affordable housing. Never. When's the last time we got a major grant? If Rubco had not applied, if Rubco had not been persistent on 5 years of going through a review process that was unnecessarily dragged out by people who just wanted to stop any, it was absolutely. The NIMBYs were in full force during that.
Yeah.
What?
It was awful.
It was awful, that's right, James. It was absolutely awful, the review. And
Well, maybe that isn't a good model, but some of the incentives to increase density.
name another
if
one,
you-
name another one. There is no other.
Well, they
model.
have this incentive to allow developers to increase density if a certain percentage are at whatever affordable means rates.
The thing is that there's existing codes that could achieve the same thing. If you can do a housing, a cluster unit, you can do it today. The point is, anybody could build this affordable housing if they wanted to, but it's not feasible. They're not gonna do it. And
you become a benefactor.
And some of those changes that you're suggesting about allowing smaller lots, about that could encourage what those folks said in the paper, savvy developers to snap that stuff up and go for that density and do what they want to do.
So what about like a percentage of a development that would have to be low, more affordable housing? Say you want, say.
That is one of the
we raise
ideas.
Woodstock Elementary School, which they're gonna do. They just have to sell it for residential because that's why the golf course sold it to the school district in the first place, was it has to go back to residential. So what are they gonna do there with that huge, we're at the start of town? They'll most likely want to build 5 gorgeous homes. What if one had to be affordable and 4 were gorgeous homes? Not that the affordable is gorgeous, but it's just.
Well,
I hope not. I hope not.
But is that something that could work in this plan?
Well,
You'd at least
you
get one
think so,
affordable
but
house
I
right at the
mean, of the
beginning.
2 schools that have come up, no one, the one we now know is the Lyman's Institute, but for years it sat there empty.
Oh, I know.
and no
The only
one-
good news for Woodstock is that it is under this thing that it has to go to residential. So there can't be any of this back and forth that's gone on forever with Xena and all this crap with like, should it be an apartment complex? Should it be a senior living thing? Should it be, it's all been like crazy. And this, I think at least we get broken up into housing, just because it's.
I just don't understand who is going to take the financial risk of doing it. I mean,
Peter Buffett.
I mean,
But if you're getting 4 major great houses and 1 affordable house, wouldn't that still be a deal?
No,
No.
no.
I don't think so.
No.
It's like the housing situation, it is horrible. I mean, it's just, I personally know so many people that are looking for housing and they just can't find it. I'm saying even
But
just
I mean, for the
rentals.
developer, wouldn't it feel better?
I think, I mean, personally, I mean, I just think there needs to be like an apartment complex, like a
Well,
large
we
scale.
tried one in Wittenberg, nice
No?
one, and it got shot down.
Really?
Yeah.
Look at the people were just, look at the
On the
people just
corner?
tonight with these three houses on this piece of property. That they were like saying no to it. I was just like, you know, he all diligence with the wetlands. I'm like, guys, he owns the
that's
property. He can.
The senior living thing, I couldn't believe that
Oh,
got
yeah, they
shut
shut that
down. I
down
mean,
too.
why?
They- oh,
I mean, that's major.
not in my
need.
backyard.
Every time it's been
Understand that.
proposed, the NIMBYs
Not in
come
my
out and
backyard.
full
It's
force.
fake liberals. It's
It is, I know.
Terrible.
Yes.
And
It's really just.
We see it
he's
here
not
every
kidding
other
when he
month.
Not
spent
right.
money.
And that's sad because he was willing to do that.
Yeah.
And that's something that is really needed. So
No, I know.
that's a
It's,
shame.
it's unethical.
Every single time that type of a project has come up, it brings out NIMBYs and they kill it.
It's
They kill it. The
unconscionable,
process-
really.
The process that Rupco went through here,
Every
unconscionable.
every
Three
house
times
on
as
Flockton
dense.
Lane had a for sale sign the second that thing was about to go through. Every single house. And I actually personally knew people who did it. And I was just like, guys, it's not, you're not gonna
I
like,
don't understand.
it's not the end of the world. Now those houses are
It's
back to
just-
being $1 million houses. And I'm just like,
They're fake
it
liberals.
all worked, you
They're
know?
what?
Fake liberals.
I mean, the truth,
They're fake whatever.
Yes.
Just make it- they're
I
fake.
mean, the truth is, if you want affordable housing, you gotta go to Saugerties or Olive or, yeah.
I spent a good late nineties and everything on the board of directors at Habitat for Humanity. I was the president for several years. We attempted to come into Woodstock. Attempted. Any affordable housing built by Habitat for Humanity here? No, but they're doing 8 houses in Saugerties right now. And they've done in other towns, but never Woodstock, and they're never coming back, just like Rupco. They're never coming back because we managed to beat their brains out when they attempt to propose it. And that's what's wrong with this process. And as far as I'm concerned, that 300-page tome exacerbates the situation, doesn't alleviate it. And that's where I'm coming from.
I understand.
Is that clear enough?
So that's my hope. My hope is that we can get more people to the table.
More people.
Formal review, but I'm Judy. More people to the table, Judy. And do a formal review on workshop time. So that's what I've requested.
That's gonna take weeks.
It's gotta be like Rupco.
My email's out, and if worst case
Too old
scenario,
for
I have to
this.
sneak it on next, I will.
Do you have any good ideas?
I think I found the short version of it. Is this it?
No, no,
I mean,
it's no,
Is this the
because
short
I mean,
version?
is it,
the economics
H2
don't
summary?
generate
This is actually
necessity
rather
or
It
the
is.
availability.
It's
think
only
that's
12
14
pages.
pages,
The
right?
economics say
Yeah.
You
it's
should
not
have
gonna
it's
work
called a-
because of the base
So
that's
even
already here.
increasing
The base.
allowing a developer to
We
build
attempted
more.
that
H2
in
summary
1984,
report.
during the time I was supervisor. I proposed in a zoning change
Sounds
Don't
to
do that.
change the density.
We're not paying enough for that.
Yeah.
I was accused of making it easy for the developers. I was the developer's path at that point because city of the village in 1984 recommendations to the changes in the zoning. How many years later is this now?
I know.
How many years? It was only 43.
Maybe the
then.
next-
I mean, you know, there's some little tweaks they can put in the code that would help. For instance, a cottage, you can have a cottage on your property, but it can't have a kitchen.
Mhm.
So what good's a cottage without a kitchen? So if they just change it so you can have a kitchen in a cottage, you'd open up a whole bunch more.
I think that's in this new.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, there are a couple of good features, but in all, I think they're barking up the wrong tree. I really do.
Well,
That's unfortunate but true.
You got that from the meeting.
What? Sorry.
No. Just reminding you, Peter.
well, we have to go through it because at some point we've got to present it to the town and how that's gonna work. I mean, we know there's 2 members that are for it. So,
I mean, I'm.
Or against it? You mean-
I'm for
Who's
allowing
one?
people to
I only
live
know
there
there
that
are
aren't
two,
rich.
there's four, Laura,
Yeah.
Ricky,
Yeah.
and
I
London.
mean, There's artists, there's musicians,
That's
all the
what
things
we're
that
for.
make Woodstock what it is, and they're gonna leave. And
Well, they-
and then
they're
we're just gonna have a
already
bunch of
gone.
rich
They're
people.
like-
That's the problem.
Already, yeah.
They've been saying they're gonna leave for 55 years and it hasn't
No,
worked
but
yet.
they're leaving, they are leaving, and we aren't gonna have firemen, nurses, we aren't gonna have postal workers, we aren't gonna have.
Yeah, nobody that works
Lawnmowers.
here can afford to live
And,
here.
and in New York City, do they live within the city limits? Hell no, they live in all the suburbs.
Well, they live in the
Outside
Bronx.
Jersey.
Rockland County is real popular. Fires, what do they call that? Guns and hoses.
None of my staff lives, none of my staff lives in Woodstock.
What?
No,
The
I believe
closest
you.
closest I get is Glendale.
See, that's
Or
not good.
Glenford, I mean, Glenford,
Yep.
For what? I'm
for
sorry.
my staff.
His
Yeah.
employees-
That's me.
Yeah, it is.
But James, the point is, and you're right. I mean, I,
I have Bard kids coming over.
yeah, they can't afford to live here. It's that
And
simple.
they'd love to.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's not.
There's no like
going to
apartment
happen.
over a store to rent or anything, or, you know.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. And it hasn't happened. And it hasn't happened since we talked about zoning. We were discussing this in the early 80s. Anywhere then, and it's not going. This is another exercise in futility.
The last,
I feel badly for the committee.
the last affordable housing committee that I sat through, we looked at all, I wasn't on the committee, but Paul Schultz was, and they looked at all town land, all the land that the town owns that we could put affordable housing on, because at least we own the land, that would be one. And it just, there's not 1 inch of town land was suitable. for it.
Oh, my goodness.
Suitable because.
Why?
It was either inaccessible or there were just all kinds of reasons why you could not get, I mean, you could put one building on it, but you couldn't get
Multiple.
multiple affordable housing.
So the golf course. So what's?
Yeah, that's right across the street from my house. Don't you put anything there? It's easy. But I think about that.
I
I
mean, it's
think,
a
oh, what if they
beautiful-
suddenly close the golf course? They put in
I mean, it's beautiful.
500 unit residential thing. I'd be okay. Okay, I'm not gonna look out to see the third green anymore, but I don't know. I'd have to live. I'm not gonna be any less busy. It's like, you know.
It's, yeah, it's about the greater good, not about you.
Well, it's just like I could go to my backyard. You know, it's okay. It's like I have a backyard.
It's like you said, the greater good, and you think about what does that mean? What does that?
More,
Does that
it means
bring
more
into the
vitality,
town and
more
more
excitement.
vitality and
Right,
more
and-
businesses thriving and more people to work and da da da. You know?
But I'm sure all the rest of my neighbors would be like burning them at the stake.
See, when I grew up in town, we all lived in the
It's challenging.
summer cottages. And eventually they got winterized and there were still little cottages, you know, and that's what most of the folks lived in. And that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. My daughter's going to grad school and she works part-time teaching in Saugerties. And so I have a studio and I let her stay there and I put a bathroom, I added a bathroom for $30,000, $500 a square foot. I mean, you know. I would have to charge her more than she could ever make.
Yeah, no, I know, the economics are very, should be, almost need government grants continually.
Although if they did that development on the golf course, it would suck elementary open.
Yeah.
That's already been decided, hasn't it?
A lot of things to solve, but I don't know that we're gonna solve that.
Then you should decide.
I
Let's
have
not
to go. Are we,
Clinging.
are we adjourned?
Yeah, we have to do that.
Adjourn.
Okay,
All
Peter
in
made
favor?
the motion and who seconded?
I'll second.
Perfect.
All in favor?
Quick question, do we have a workshop meeting on the 29th of June, which is the 5th Thursday?
We do.
What's that workshop?
Yeah,
That hopefully it's going to be about the
and you're gonna find out whether or not we're gonna exceed the 40 days.